Hello, Big Reds. You are the lucky ones because you're in my honors class. You get these extra problems to do. Lucky, lucky, lucky you. Okay, so let's get going on this first of all. So these are problems now that you're doing that are just for honors classes. Okay, so first one is, let's say we have an equation, and I'm going to graph it on the graph paper, okay? And I'm going to graph it like this and like this. Okay? And let's say we have an equation that goes through these points, point B and point A. Let's see, I'm just going to continue this on right like that. Okay. And we want an equation that goes parallel to this through point C. How are we going to do that? Well, first of all, let's get the equation for this line right here. Well, I know that I'm going to assume that this line intersects right here, just for all practical purposes here. So I know that this line from A to B has a slope of, it's going down 2 over 1. So its slope is negative 2 over 1. Okay? So in order to go through point C, the equation has to go through point C and has to have a slope of negative 2 over 1 if it's parallel. So the points, coordinates of point C are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So to start this off, I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. I'm going to put in the coordinates of my new point. So this is my x, this is my y. So my y, I put a 1 in here for y. I put my slope is negative 2. It's going to be the same slope because it's parallel. Okay, I'm going to put in my x value, which is 4, and I'm going to put plus b. First, I multiply these together. I get negative 2 times 4, which is negative 8, plus b. Add 8 to each side. I get b is equal to 9. So my new equation is going to be y equals, keep that negative 2, negative 2x plus 9. That's where I'm getting that from. Okay, now let's say if we want to graph an equation that is perpendicular, which you're also going to have to know. So in order to be perpendicular, I still use y equals mx plus b. I can't use the slope, which is negative 2 over 1. Instead, I have to use the slope of the opposite reciprocal, which is 1/2. So I'm going to put in my points, my 1 for y, 1/2 for the m, and for the x is going to be 4. So I have 1 equals 1/2 times 4, which is 2, plus b. Subtract 2 from each side. Left with b is equal to negative 1. So the new equation is going to be y equals, I don't use the negative 2, I use the 1/2. Y equals 1/2 x minus 1. All right. Now, you're going to have to do that along with, you're going to have to tell if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So I'll give you 3 examples. First thing, if I have y equals 2x plus 5 and y equals negative 1/3 x minus 2. Since they're ready in slope y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, I look at the slopes. This is 2, this is negative 1/3. They're not the same, and they're not opposite reciprocals, so this is neither parallel nor perpendicular. Next 2 equations. If we have 2y equals 3x minus 5 and 4y equals 6x plus 2. First thing I have to do is solve for y. So I divide these all by 2. I'm left with y equals 3/2 x minus 5/2. This one I have to divide them all by 4. So I'm left with y equals, I have to reduce this. 6/4 reduces to 3/2 x plus this becomes 1/2. Now that I'm y equals mx plus b form, I look at the slopes. You see they are the same, so these are parallel. All right, last example I have for you. So I have y plus 5x equals 10, and I have 5y minus x equals 12. Again, I have to solve them for y equals. So I'm going to subtract 5x from each side over here, and I'm left with y equals negative 5x plus 10. Always put the x's first on this side, okay? Then over here, I'm going to subtract 5y from each side. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. That's a mistake. I can't do that. I'm going to add x to each side here because I want to keep y's on this side. So I have 5y equals x plus 12. Then I divide by 5 on each side. And I'm left with y equals, this is like a 1, so 1/5 x plus 12/5. Now if you circle slopes, this is 1/5, this is negative 5. Negative 5 is the same as negative 5/1. You can see they're opposite reciprocals of each other, so these are perpendicular. Okay, so now you know, even as an honors student, you know everything that's on the test. I wish you the best of luck, and go Big Reds.